So I do business all over Europe, Middle East and Africa, and I actually manage all of those sales forces in those markets, making sure that we get traction in digital marketing and making sure that we make our revenue targets in those markets. Today's conference was a lot about, so Alain Heureux asked me to talk about the future of internet and the future of our industry. And the first reflex is to tell, actually, if I wouldn't know the future, then probably I wouldn't be here. I would be on a yacht in the Bahamas drinking my mojito. Who knows what the future will look like? Who knew YouTube 3 years ago? Who knew Google 10 years ago? The industry is changing drastically, and the one that has the golden secret can tell me and can share that. So what I wanted to do in the presentation, what I've done in the presentation, is actually give a couple of ideas on what might happen. And I showed a couple of examples on stuff that I think is overhyped. A lot of people talk about it. It's seen in all of the presentations, but it is overhyped. But still, the value is underestimated, so it's undervalued. I talked about the long tail of the web, more power to the people. Again, everybody talks about it, but actually imagine that instead of the 2% generating content on Wikipedia, generating 90% of the content, you would have 10% of the people being engaged on Wikipedia, or 30% being engaged. I talked about the network effect, and I talked about search. Search is probably one of the most overhyped propositions we have today. It's text-based, it's text query-based, it relates to website, it relates to video, it relates to photos. But what about the fact that, in fact, looking for information is probably not what all people want to do. Sometimes it's all about a journey of self-discovery. And when you talk about self-discovery, that's fundamentally different. It's driven by demand. There's an element of serendipity in there. So then I gave some examples around what our research labs are developing right now. And that talks exactly to long tail of the web, network effects, and search. So imagine that you would have a huge amount of people uploading their pictures online, that you would have technology that connects the dots, that sort of takes the pictures and hyperlinks them to one another. That would actually enable technology to create a virtual world, create a virtual world of the real world. So it's sort of in between the real world and Second Life. It's sort of a 1.5 life, where people start navigating in that world. And the more they navigate, the more value they get out of it, and the more pictures they start uploading, and the richer the environment gets. And I think if you then think about search, then you really talk about a journey of discovery, and you might be able to find stuff in a completely different way than we are used to. Then I talked about video. I talked about the fact that broadcast model as we know it today obviously is very old-fashioned, because it doesn't talk to the interactivity, it doesn't talk to the participatory model that we stand for in digital, it doesn't talk to the immersive experience. And I gave some examples of games. If you think about Steven Spielberg signing up for 3 major titles on Electronic Arts, Steven Spielberg creating his own company that's dedicated towards creating games. So what you see in the future is big sort of famous producers seeing more value in creating games rather than creating movies. And that's a very funny evolution to watch. So last but not least, I showed a video. It's called Bring Back the Love. And it speaks actually to the fundamental problem that marketers don't get the fact that they need to engage in a conversation with their consumers. It's not anymore about couponing, it's not about radio commercials, spending $1 million on a TV commercial. It's around how do I interact, how do I engage with an audience, make it participatory, and make it interactive. I showed the video, and obviously you can download it on this site. And I also think it's a challenge not only for marketeers but also for the interactive industry, for the digital industry. It's not. It puts us in a spot where we have to take our responsibility also to make it able for brands to engage in conversations with consumers. It's not about being the old media sales house that sells inventory, that sells 300 by 250 skyscrapers, super banners. It has to go beyond that. It's also working with creative agencies to allow them the reach that we have and allow them to use our network to reach out to consumers in a very engaging, innovative, creative way.